Thanks for tuning into the No More, Do More podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all of the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
Yeah, we are live, eh?
Yeah, we are live.
Live on location.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the No More podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Kabingu, and today we have a very illustrious guest. I didn't learn your word, Juicy. Illustrious guest. He calls himself Mr. Ken from Kenya, and I know mostly we've been having a lot of tech guests, so for once, Nika feel, let's do something different. Let's get someone in the agricultural field, a young guy in the agricultural field, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. Welcome.
Thank you, Kelvin, for hosting me. I'll introduce myself once again. I'm Kenneth Chepkwony. People call me Kenneth from Kenya. I hope we'll get another chance to speak about that. So I'm vice chairman at Kenarava Group, which is an agribusiness company here in Kenya, doing a lot of work with youth and women.
Youth and women.
Yes.
So before we get to the Kenarava stuff and Nini,
yes.
I want to know who's Chepkwony before all that.
Yes.
I know people don't like this question of describe yourself, but can you tell us a bit about yourself other than the Kenarava part?
So let me say I was raised as a village boy down in Nandi County, in a very green village. I had never been to a desert before. So I first made it to Nairobi in university, basically.
Hey.
Yes. So I can say I was more of a rural guy than.
You didn't do those school trips zile tunaenda Nairobi museum.
I came to Nairobi only once, and that was in primary school, and we were going for drama festivals. So that was the only time I actually saw a 10-story building. Other than that, the only time I was able to interact with, live in Nairobi, it was after high school and, starting off with campus at JKUAT, basically. Yeah.
And what's the difference, like you growing up in rural and coming to Nairobi? There are many misconceptions, things people believe about being in Nairobi, like watu wanadhani ukiwa Nairobi uko na pesa, so tuma kitu nyumbani. So what are the misconceptions and stuff you learned when you came?
First of all, coming to Nairobi was a shock to me, because I thought life in Nairobi is it's all about the glitz and the glam. Money flows into your pockets, and you don't have to worry about things that rural folk worry about. So it's until I came to Nairobi that I realized you actually have to work twice as hard to stay alive in Nairobi than down there in the village. But I think the important part is that I changed in terms of mentality. The mentality I had before coming to the city was different from what I've grown to, subscribe to.
So when you came to Nairobi, what did you do in campus?
I studied animal health production and processing. Actually, I was hoping to be a vet one day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was your childhood dream?
No, not at all.
What did you
Growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut. I had big dreams.
You literally wanted to shoot for the moon.
Yes. I literally wanted to go to the moon.
Yeah.
Then that interest changed. In high school, I started shifting towards the legal profession, because I was this kid mwenye alikuwa na Kiingereza mingi. I had too much Kiingereza for a village kid. Yeah. So I believed that I could make a good lawyer, and I also possessed important analytical skills. I used to love arguing. I would argue about everything. So by the time I was clearing high school, it dawned to me that I needed to do more in terms of what I understood about my environment. So then my father used to has been in agriculture. Actually, he farmed, but it didn't succeed. So I figured I have to do something along the lines of agribusiness, so that I may be able to, improve what was not done, what he had not done so to speak.
So he kind of directed you to
Yes, exactly.
field.
And specifically, he encouraged me to go the vet direction because he figured that there was a shortage of qualified vets in the country. In fact, most people who practice animal treatment are not qualified vets. There's that problem actually.
Yeah, there was that thing of the government took away like those extension officers.
Yes,
from
yes,
the villages.
yes.
And
quacks also, not forgetting.
yeah, there always those wale wajua.
Yeah. So some guys just working in an agrovet, interacting with those veterinary medicines, and then soon they start treating animals. So
yeah,
there was an actual problem.
And it's not a common direction where I don't see many young people getting into the agricultural side.
Yes.
One I'd ask is, was there any like a backlash or ridicule from your friends? Because I'm thinking in Kenya mostly when people are getting out of high school, it's unataka kuwa daktari, unataka kuwa engineer, hata lawyer. So I was thinking, was it like first shift to becoming the going to the agricultural route? Because I'm thinking you might have been really attached to that lawyer bit.
Yeah, it really was.
Was there a lot of convincing for you to go into the agricultural bit?
There was actually quite a lot of convincing to be done because first, then it was not cool to be a farmer or to be in the agribusiness space, and the legal profession was still deemed as prestigious. Now, the only thing that actually discouraged me from following my passion, that is law, was because I realized I had to stick in school for very long. There's the 4 years. Then after that, there's I think, is it 2 years or 1 year at the Kenya School of Law. Then after that, you need to work in a law firm, pupillage basically, for another several months. So nikajiambia, will I sit in school for too long and then take too long to start earning a living?
Yeah.
So that actually discouraged me from going that direction.
Yeah.
Yes. But I think my father was a really strong force in terms of convincing me to consider agribusiness. Mm-hmm. Yes, because he thought there was a need, there was a demand. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you came to campus. Was it when you're studying, is the way we are taught agriculture in school something you think is ideal, or is there something different you'd like to be done in the way we teach agriculture in our campuses?
I think the agriculture taught in our universities, they teach the science mostly instead of the art. So the practical aspect of agriculture does not come out strongly. Because I remember, spending long hours reading a lot of material on, say, pathology, there's parasitology, those kinds of units. So it's tons and tons of paperwork we are dealing with instead of hanging out with animals or plants more than the classroom. Mm-hmm. So the experience, I didn't really expect that it would be like that. I thought I would spend more time on the farm, learning the art of growing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I remembered I didn't ask, what exactly do you study in animal health production and processing?
So basically, animal health production and processing is, those are three disciplines, I must say, because they can be taught separately when you think about it. So animal health is really about raising animals in the right environment to ensure that you are able to derive economic benefit from it. Tied to animal health is animal production, which focuses on the feeding and any other endeavor to ensure that you are able to ensure that your animals perform, meaning if it's a horse, it can, the horse can run fast, win races and that kind of thing. So there's the welfare beat, there's the feeding part,
so it's
even how you accommodate them,
maintaining, so that you know how best to get
yes,
what you need from that particular animal.
And not forgetting that you have to ensure that you are able to realize profit, considering that you incurred production costs.
So it's the whole chain it's essentially from farm to fork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Then processing is the value addition thing, and ensuring that you control post-harvest losses.
yeah, so that's the bit most farmers in Kenya don't have a skill on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
In fact, in Kenya, I think it stands at 40 or 60%. It's crazy.
60%.
I think it's 40. I'm not sure, but I'll have to do some checking.
Yeah.
But it's some crazy figure, believe me. Yes.
So in school, that's like the part where you're broadening your horizon. So after school, you did 4 years after school.
Yes.
So what is next? What happened next?
So
Because
first
I know before you're starting to survive now. So
Yes.
for a young guy who wants to get into agriculture,
yes.
has no capital, what was your next step?
So first of all, my experiences in campus, like I said, they defeated my expectation. So throughout the 4 years, I really didn't know what I'd do with the degree once I graduate. So in 2015, I clear campus. Then I couldn't get into farming, of course, because I was mostly conversant with the theoretical aspects of farming rather than the practical. And remember, also farming needs some psychological preparation. You have to be ready to face the risk. It's risky, and you also have to be ready to be patient about it. So I really lacked on that, and also the entrepreneurial side. You need to treat farming as a business for you to last. So after campus, I felt that I didn't have those skills, the entrepreneurial skills. I didn't have the patience, and I also didn't have the frame of mind to allow me venture into agriculture, maybe start a farm or something.
So what did you do now?
Now an opportunity came up. You see, in the year 2015, Kenya and Israel partnered, such that Israel would be training young agricultural graduates from Kenya. They fly to Israel, train for 11 months, then they expectedly they would come back to Kenya and start farms or do something in the agribusiness space. So when that opportunity came up, I figured, why don't I go to Israel also and see what those guys are doing over there? So it was, let me say, I really didn't have any other choice. I was just going to Israel because there were guys going to Israel.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
So it's a way of postponing problems. I said, maybe it will be some kind of sabbatical leave. I go and figure out what I want to do with my life.
Paid for.
Yes. Yeah. So I just wanted to go
just you got an opportunity. Let me just.
Yeah, and not forgetting that I would be able to walk in Jerusalem. So why not?
If we go closer to God, the way forward.
Yeah, walk the Bible as they say it. Yeah, so I thought it was a good opportunity for me. Yes.
So the program was? What were you doing? What was the program exactly?
So it's a work study program, and specifically you are attached to a farm for 11 months, running through the entire planting the entire farming season, right from planting to harvest. So you are able to learn directly from the farmer how they operate, and to also work physically. You actually work physically. And understand how they are able to make the desert bloom, because in that place where I was attached, it's called the Arava region. It's very dry. It actually forms 60% of Israel, which is very dry. Just to give you perspective, I think in the driest places in Kenya, you can, maybe in Turkana, let's say, some of those places, you can drill 200 meters and find water. In the Arava, those guys have to drill 1,500 meters.
1,500?
Yes. That is 1.5 kilometers.
Yeah.
I think along the way you might find oil instead of water.
Yes. What?
So I was able to attach. Now, importantly, I lived in a settlement called the kibbutz. So for those people who have learned a little bit about Israel, is that during its early years, the Jews formed settlements called kibbutzim. So they operated like a cooperative where different families would combine resources, farm, and also market as a unit. So I was able to live in that kind of environment and learn exactly how it works. So I lived in Kibbutz Lotan and Center for Creative Ecology. So it's they have that kind of model. So they had dates. As a kibbutz, they owned a dates grove where I worked, and I also worked part-time in a dairy farm, which had 350 animals, milking animals actually. There were about 600, but 300, we would milk 350, producing about 10,000 liters of milk a day. Yes.
That's a lot. And it's
That's in the desert.
Yeah, in the desert, yeah.
So you'd wonder, the first shock I found when I landed in that kibbutz, I saw Frisians in a desert. I didn't expect to see that. Because we all know that
zebus and
I expected to see this kind of hardcore cows that we know. So after taking a close look, I realized that the kibbutz has invested heavily in providing the environment that these animals can survive. So, for example, these cows would shower 3 times a day. They take cold showers. The cattle shed, you'd find large, huge fans,
like this for
spinning.
industrial area.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a whole operation, I'm telling you.
So there's that mindset of this is a business.
Exactly.
It's not, I'm just farming because this is what I got my parents doing. Yeah.
Yes. What I really admired about them is that they don't stop at the problem. They have to find solutions. So in the case of the dairy farming establishment they had, they did not stop at the fact that you can't keep those kind of cows in the desert. They had to figure out how they can do it sustainably and profit, because the only reason why they've been there for a while is because they're making profit. Also, so that was the biggest lesson for me. And importantly, that region of Israel is powered by solar during the day. Yes, so at least they are able to mitigate the energy costs.
So that's, and on the grape side, then
the dates.
The dates.
Yeah, so with the dates, they had about 8,000 date trees. I think it was more than that. And they would, dates, you harvest dates annually. And here's the interesting part. You only make money during the harvesting time when you sell the fruit.
So the whole
So you
year
ask yourself, the whole year
it's on your expense.
You're paying workers to take care of the trees and whatnot. But these kibbutz was able to organize themselves such that they are able to profit enough that they may be able to cover the production costs and still make money out of it. And dates consume a lot of water. A full-grown date palm, say a 20-year-old date palm would consume 1,000 liters of water a day during the summer.
A day.
What? Exactly. Now here comes the other thing. Date palms were irrigated using recycled water. You see, now that's where
the recycled from
you see wastewater. Basically, they would recycle the wastewater and pump it back to the farms. Yes.
So it's not from the boreholes. They were using borehole water. Where was the water coming from?
Okay. First of all, because of how expensive it is to drill water in Israel, the government controls it. And there's also organizations such as the Jewish National Fund. Jewish National Fund particularly has done amazing work on water management in Israel. So it has partnered with the government to, create these rainwater harvest systems storage systems and those kind of things. So with the farmers themselves, and even the government encourages this, they have to utilize the minimum resource that they have, water. And so for the trees, date trees, they would be irrigated using water that was recycled. So you see, when, for example, when you wash your dishes, that's the kind of water we are talking about. It would be recycled and it would end up in the farms to feed you again.
And it's something I don't think in Kenya we think about, because like recently with all that flooding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So one thing I've realized, the biggest difference I realized with farming in Israel and Kenya is really about how state agencies and even people in agribusiness, they connect, and even research bodies. So I think there's not much going on as far as communication is concerned here in Kenya. Everyone is trying to do their own stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of, farmers are not even trying to learn from each other and whatnot. Instead, they would see the other party as competition.
I like it's the kibbutz.
The kibbutz system.
Yeah,
you see how the kibbutz
system, if people like in the rural areas come together,
yes,
so we are all planting maize.
Yes,
let's find a way to sell this maize together.
Yes, because if you are selling together, you also there is some guarantee of market. That's for starters, and also you are able to control prices in a big way.
Yeah,
especially if this kind of arrangement occurs at the national scale. Yeah, we would not have these issues of market trends hurting farmers, which is mostly. I think that's
and even
that's a big
farmers
challenge.
being shortchanged because
exactly by brokers and middle persons.
Brokers that really make more money. And the farmer remains poor.
Yes.
Interesting.
So I learned a lot, and also you see, because of the kibbutz system, they are also able to raise their children according to social values that are beneficial to the community.
It's like the Nyumba Kumi executed perfectly.
Yes, exactly. You build each other socially, economically, spiritually as well. Because they would have a kibbutz synagogue where residents would go to pray. They even have a common dining place where every Friday all the kibbutz families would meet in this dining area to eat together. Think about that.
What?
Now that's quality of life.
Yeah.
You see, it's sustainable.
Yeah, you get to know your neighbors.
Yes.
And in this kibbutz, were you alone or other African guys?
Yes.
What kind of other people from other places were there?
That's an interesting question. So since I lived in Kibbutz Lotan, I would speak specifically about how they operated. So they teach creative ecology, which is a kind of living system where you interact with your environment. You live with nature, basically. You actually learn from nature. So because of that, they've been able to host a lot of students from all over the world. You have Africa, South America, North America as well, several European countries, the UK, Australia. I think at any given time you'd find the entire world is represented in Kibbutz Lotan. So you see, in that kind of situation, there would be cross-cultural education as well.
Yeah.
So you find the kibbutz residents would learn from these visitors, and the visitors would learn from the kibbutz residents.
Yeah.
So by the time these students would fly back to their countries, I believe they also learned something from Kenneth from Kenya. And I think we'll get to that. I think maybe it's because of the cycling I used to do. I used to ride like crazy.
Yeah,
I love cycling. So at the end of the training, even for ourselves, we would fly back to our respective countries, and everyone would be happy. The kibbutz residents would really learn a lot.
Yeah, that kibbutz system seems like a very interesting. I think it's something we should try to implement.
Yes, we should try to implement it, not just for the sake of agriculture and food security, but also for the sake of our children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was there something you learned from guys from other countries who are not like the Israelis?
Yes, yes. I think what came out strongly was the aspect of stereotypes. So I think before you considering the media attention that every other country receives, you'd develop a set of beliefs concerning a person from hailing from another country. So I would meet some of these people and realize, oh, it's actually different. These people are not like this, but like this, because I've learned directly from them. And I think it was vice versa. They would learn a lot from my. I'll give you a clear example. So some people used to wonder how is it possible that a Kenyan would speak fluent English. So some of these guys, they think
You'll come
they think Africa is some jungle with trees. People are just harvesting trees, hunting and gathering, and walking around with loincloths.
Loincloths and lions.
Yeah, so they find out, oh, this guy has an idea of climate change. So
He has an idea of climate. Like, but you've gone beyond where I expected you to be.
yeah. So suddenly they realize, oh, the world certainly is a village. Yeah. So I think there was a lot to learn from each other.
And were there other Africans?
Yes. That kibbutz particularly, apart from my fellow trainees in Israel who were from Kenya then, we also had people from Uganda and which was the other country? I think there was Liberia as well. Yes.
So what did you learn from the Africans? Was their situation the same as ours?
I think Kenya and particularly Nairobi has urbanized a great deal. I think that's what I learned from them. They think Kenya looks like the industrial capital of Africa, according to them. Yet we don't see it ourselves.
We don't appreciate it.
Yes, they think Kenya is some, it's this advanced, sophisticated country. Yes, so I figured maybe that's the image we sell to the rest of Africa. That's the main thing I learned from them.
So even
and also importantly, after interacting with them, I realized Kenyans were quite open-minded. We are quite open-minded.
Most people interacted with, they came with certain perceptions.
Yes, they had let me not call it some kind of closed mentality, but it looked something like that. Yes.
So it's every day it's like they were learning a lot from.
Yes. Yes. They were learning a lot. There was a lot to be learned. But maybe that is because maybe Kenya's geographical location gives it an advantage, and also the kind of allies we've made over time, diplomatically speaking. Yeah. I think our diplomacy is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think because is it Kenya has, I don't remember what our internet access is.
Yes.
But Kenyans are always on like social media. All that, so they have a lot of knowledge from
exactly. That's where the open-mindedness comes from. It's because of this kind of cross-cultural education hosted online. Yes. And I think we have one of the fastest internet speeds in the world.
Yeah. The last time I saw that, I think we were like number 25. Yeah, but that's still high because I remember we were faster than Australia.
Yeah, now you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So you.
But I don't think many Australians know that.
They don't.
Exactly.
It's surprise.
It's until they meet a Kenya now they realize.
Like you know this.
Yeah.
So you stayed there for 11 months.
So I stayed for 11 months. Maybe I'll speak a little bit about my experiences there. Now, at the start of this conversation, I had said that I was raised in Nandi County, very green.
Yeah.
It's land flowing with milk and honey. And suddenly, I found myself in a desert. It's blooming, but it's a desert. So the kind of environment I was exposed to really awakened my inner creative self. So I remember the first thing I did with my salary for the first month, I thought the sunrises there were phenomenal. They were different from what I had experienced before. Not to say that we don't have good sceneries in Kenya. We have quite a lot.
Yeah.
But the only thing I found there was the difference. Now, I bought a phone. I'll not say what phone it was because this is not an advertisement. I've not been paid to advertise.
A good phone.
Yeah, so
Good photos.
I remember very well. I googled best camera phone 20. Which year was that? I think it was
2016.
2017.
2017, yeah.
2016 or 2017.
Around there.
2017, yeah. Best camera phone 2017. I got the answer. So the first answer, I went to
Someone will go and Google best and know which one you bought.
Yeah. So I went to a city called Elat City. It was close by. Bought that phone, started snapping photos. Everything was interesting to me. The birds were interesting. The different changes in climate, no weather basically. Because you'd find the sunrises during summertime were different from winter sunrises, so to speak. It was just phenomenal. So I was taking pictures and I decided, why not? Remember Kenyans and social media. So I used to post these pictures on Instagram and Facebook. Then after a while, I realized, I can actually do something extra. So I started a hashtag called My Arava Story because I was telling my story, the story of how I'm living in the Arava.
Yeah.
Now, remember, before I left Kenya, this is a long story. Before I left Kenya, I used to be a cyclist. So for people who know me, I bought my first bike with the intention of spending less transport costs when moving from place to place during the holidays to actually the campus hustle when you're trying to make some money. So I would ride from I think if people know the distance, from Juja to Ongata Rongai. Now from Ongata Rongai I would ride to some place almost near Kiserian where I would work and earn some little money, move from that point, go to another place like that. So I basically bought my first bicycle to
as a means of survival.
Yeah, to survive. Now, once I was in Israel, I figured, with these photos, and I got a lot of positive feedback online. People were saying, wow, that place is beautiful. So I figured, why not get a bicycle, not to survive this time, but to show how I'm living here. So I think a few months down the line, I went back to Elat City. You can look it up on Google actually. Elat City is it's actually next to the Red Sea. So our Bible stories tell us that, that
I think
the Israelites crossed.
If you've read the Bible enough, ufai kupotea. If you're listening.
Yes. Cross, Red Sea. So those places I lived there, Red Sea and all those places. So I got my bike and I would cycle every weekend when I'm not working. I would ride from the kibbutz to another location in the Arava, still in the desert, taking photos, telling stories about what's going on and whatnot. So after some time, a very important organization in Israel, I think I mentioned it before, concerning what they are doing on water management and whatnot. They literally discovered me online. Then, first of all, I have to apologize. I've not mentioned the institution where I was studying in Israel. It's called the Arava International Center for Agricultural Training. So I would spend days working on the farm, and then one day of the week we would go to the campus ICAT, that institution, and study, basically get the theoretical side of things. Yes. So moving on. So the Jewish National Fund discovered me, and they helped me publicize my Arava story. Then suddenly I became a sensation in Israel. Channel 10 of Israel, they made a documentary about my Arava story.
For real?
Yeah, I became
I've never
famous.
seen this document.
Yeah.
You've had it here first, folks.
Yeah, I think it had that video had I think 60,000 views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
was-
on YouTube.
Yeah, it's
people
yeah, it's
just-
still there.
Yeah, so people can just check my Arava.
Yes.
My Arava story.
No, the my Arava story, if you search it on Instagram and Facebook, you'll get all the photos I've ever taken in Israel. All the beautiful things, the desert. You'll also learn a few things about how agriculture is conducted there. And specifically for that video, you'll have to get it through a link on my Facebook.
So people can get it. Okay.
Yeah, as they are going through my profile, they'll stumble upon it for sure. Yes. So I became quite famous actually.
Local celeb.
Yeah, I became some celebrity. It was interesting for the Israelis there because they just couldn't understand who is this guy riding across the desert. I think on one weekend I would ride 200 kilometers.
200 kilometers.
In fact, the only weekend was Saturday, which is Sabbath.
So Sabbath there you're not supposed to.
No, Sunday in Israel is a day like any other. It's a weekday. Banks open, hospitals open, and everything. So the weekend there for me was only Saturday. Sabbath, Shabbat. So that was the time I would ride. So you'd find on a typical weekend, Saturday for that matter, I would leave with my bike. By the time I'm coming back to the kibbutz, I've done 200 kilometers.
That's
sometimes
like
more.
A quarter from east to west of Kenya.
Yeah, I really used to.
Quarter.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So that's how I became people just couldn't get it.
So they're just seeing this black guy riding.
Yeah, riding. You're driving. I think the reason why I used to feel safe riding there, I think it's because of how I would stand out. So think about it. You're riding in the middle of the desert, and you just find this Kenyan guy out of nowhere.
You cycled from Kenya.
So you'd wonder, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
So people are stopping you and asking you.
Actually, I would get a lot of that.
Yeah.
I remember on one hot afternoon, I was riding up a very steep incline, basically. Then I got to the top of a let's say it's called Mount Ayit. Actually, it's a mountain. It's not the typical mountain, but it's called Mount Ayit. So I got there and I was sweating profusely. It was 37 degrees centigrade outside.
That's the body temperature of a person.
No, the environment.
No, I'm
the
saying
day
yeah.
temperature.
Yeah,
Exactly. So this couple were driving up and they found me and gave me a lot of water. Yeah, they thought I was crazy. I didn't mention that in summer it gets to 50 degrees centigrade.
50. I can't imagine 50.
Unaona hii yenye watu Nairobi wanalalamika. I think inakuanga 29.
Yeah.
Hata ile time ya equinox, when you had the equinox.
Yeah.
Remember how hot it was that time?
Yeah.
I think it was 29, 30. Hata zani nilifika 30 something.
Then Kenya hata ifika 37. I don't think it gets to.
Maybe huko Turkana.
Yeah, maybe
Turkana hata inaweza fika 40. But there it would get even up to 50. Crazy hot.
And you're out here cycling.
Yeah, and I was out there cycling. So I was that's how I became a sensation. Now, after the end of my training, I came back to Kenya. And now the question was, what next?
Yeah.
Because now we had saved money from working there.
Yeah.
We had this inspiration to make a difference in Kenya and in Africa. So the question really was about how can we do this and when?
You're saying you and...
Yeah. Good question. So the time we were going to train in Israel, we were 102 young Kenyans. So coming back, remember that we were drawn from different parts of Kenya. Yeah. So everyone would land in Kenya and start doing whatever they have to do. Everyone, goes back to their counties and tries whatever they had planned to do. So I partnered with two other colleagues from the Arava and started now Kenarava Group. Yes. So Kenarava, Ken, the first part, Ken is Kenya, not Kenneth.
Yeah, I was thinking you call it Kenneth, and your friends are like, you're okay with that.
I don't think there would anyone who would be okay with that. Yes. So my other colleagues is Ronald and Yvonne. Yvonne is actually back in Israel right now, completing her master's. She's back in Israel doing her master's in crop science. So we are with Ronald here in Kenya. So yeah, Ken is from Kenya. Arava is from the Arava where we were. Yes. So that goes to show that experience gave us a lot of inspiration and wanted to maintain that emotional connection that we had established with not only the Arava but the state of Israel. Yes. So we came and started that agribusiness consulting company, and I think later you're going to ask me what we do, which I'll gladly tell you.
Yeah, you can just go and
Yes. So Kenarava, we are an agribusiness consulting company working in different parts of the country. Now, importantly, we are a for-profit organization. We are here to make money, but create social impact. So we are a for-profit organization with a social impact perspective. So our activities range, but our main activities are, number one, agribusiness advisory, which is basically advising farmers, providing extension services to farmers. I think by now you're definitely aware that we have a problem when it comes to agricultural extension. Yeah, there's much that needs to be done. So we are these young people that have decided that, hey, this is an issue that's prevailing and we have to do something about it. So we provide agribusiness consulting services to farmers and organizations. The other thing we do is training. Now, these trainings, agribusiness trainings, so to speak, are divided into on-farm and off-farm trainings. So in terms of on-farm trainings, we usually organize field days where farmers meet at a specific model farm, and these farms are across different parts of Kenya. Then they would learn about how to farm sustainably and profitably. Then regarding the off-farm trainings, we do this at in our office mostly here in Nairobi, and that focuses on how to integrate technology in agribusiness and farm management practices and what have we. The other thing we also do is agribusiness events. So this includes stakeholder meetings, workshops, and most notably the annual Kenarava Agribusiness Dinner. In fact, every year we've hosted this particular event. In 2017, that was when we did the first event. We were discussing how to harness, not how to harness really, but how to actualize the fact that agribusiness is the next frontier of job creation, investment, and development. So we hosted it at the Dusit D2, and we had the pleasure of having the then Israeli ambassador to Kenya being keynote speaker. We invited several people from government, private sector, farmers, young people intending to get into agribusiness and whatnot. For 2018, we partnered with an organization called Agribusiness Kenya. It's a Dutch outfit, and hosted the National Youth in Agribusiness Forum, the Safari Park Hotel. So it was the same thing, but scaled up. You see, in 2017, we hosted, I think, about 135 guests. Now, the National Youth in Agribusiness Forum brought in banks and even more farmers, and we had around 300 people. In 2019, I don't know when this conversation is going to go online, but
probably next week.
Okay, good one. We are going to host the third edition of the Kenarava Agribusiness Dinner. We'll do it right here at the Villa Rosa Kempinski. Good food. But most importantly, we'll be focusing on the theme, harnessing alternative financial models for food and agriculture transformation. So we have, first of all, we are hosting it in partnership with basically when I talk about the hosts, Kenarava and an organization called Agribusiness Africa, which is a partner model farm that we've been working with for a long time. It is actually owned by a young person like us. But this event basically has brought in even bigger players. We have the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations being the main partner in the event. We have Yara International. I think people who understand fertilizers know them very well. We also have RTI, which is an organization that implements projects for USAID. Yes, and we also, of course, we have the Embassy of Israel. So we'll have the pleasure of having the current Israeli ambassador to Kenya opening the event. Yes.
Nice. You said alternative?
Harnessing alternative financial models for food and agriculture transformation.
Okay, what okay. Or that you'll have to.
Very. That's a very good good question. Now, we realized, you see, in 2017, the big question was, how do we get agribusiness to work for the youth and women? So over time, we've realized that one of the biggest issues that we've had is finance in agriculture. You see, most banks consider farming or farmers to be high risk individuals to deal with, because farming is it poses great risk. Now we realize that we have other ways to work around agribusiness financing through, for example, using models like contract farming, where I'll pick the example of EABL. We hope to have them at the dinner also, as one of the panelists. So an organization like that would invest in a farmer, ensure that they produce the raw material that they would need to produce their products, and guide them through the whole process, and provide them with the funds. That's one side. The other thing we're also looking at is mobile loans and those kind of things, how farmers can access these kind of financial services. So we call them alternative because for a long time they've not been operating in the agribusiness space.
Yeah.
The other one we're also looking at is the blockchain. So I think blockchain is the next big thing in financing. It's fintech basically. So we'll also have some of the panelists discussing that and how it can work for Kenyans. Yes.
So especially for the dinner, is there is it an entrance fee, something?
Now here's the thing. Because of the various partners that came on board, and considering that we want this event to appeal to the youth, basically we want to see mostly the young people coming there to learn and to also collaborate and network, is we decided to waive the entrance fee. So we are only charging corporate organizations that are coming on board, but entrance is free. Unfortunately, the owing to how the dinner has been happening for the past, from 2017, it is, let me say, it sells like hotcake. So I think we've sold out every slot.
Oh, so there's no even
right now, unfortunately,
So anyone who wants it, either has to wait for next year.
Yes.
But do you guys see? You don't record or anything where someone can get there?
Now this year we intend to even host it on Facebook Live.
Oh, okay.
So people can access that through our website. Of course, you go to www.kenarava.com. Okay. Importantly, since we are bringing also county governments to the event, we also want to convince them to enable us take it to the counties where the farmers are. They don't have to come to Nairobi, we'll go to them. Yes. So next year, 2020, is going to be an interesting year because this event, I think, will be doing this kind of workshops and trainings kwa mashinani huko ndani, where we have
or we can even work with Zidi.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Even Zidi, we hope to be seeing you at the dinner. Yes, so that you can be able to, get the different perspectives, and people can learn.
So maybe the final 2 questions I may ask is,
Yes.
what have been the challenges so far?
Yes.
And what are your plans, like future, maybe 5-year, 10-year plans? Yeah.
So challenges, this will sound like cliche, but in Kenya, if you're young or if you're a woman, you have to work thrice as hard to, to be hard, to be taken seriously. So the biggest challenge is starting out. It was hard to, stamp our importance in the agribusiness industry, because we were seen as young, inexperienced, and whatnot. So we had a lot of proving to do. So getting partnerships whenever we needed was the main problem. Of course, the other thing also that that we saw as a challenge was scaling up. Scaling up was not easy. Moving from where we were to the next level. Yes. So that's a challenge that we managed to solve, and we see 2020 being a very promising year.
Nice.
Yes.
So plans for the future?
So Kenarava Group operates in Kenya, but we are looking to take our services across Africa and to the entire world. So let me say the main inspiration we got is from a recent job we did. We actually hosted the United Nations entity for gender equality and empowerment of women, UN Women, Ethiopia country office in Kenya. Now, interesting, yeah. I thought you'd have that reaction.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You see, African countries are not communicating enough. So the Ethiopians felt that they had a lot to learn from Kenya concerning how we operate. And also we did a 3-day training for them, exposing them to youth and women-led enterprises, how they operate, and specifically concerning different forms of farming like aquaponics, basically climate smart agriculture. So from then we realized we learned a lot from them. The way we do our agribusiness in Kenya is very different from how Ethiopia does. So because of that kind of interaction, we even became more convinced that we need to expand to the rest of Africa. Yes.
It's like, is it? I forgot the name, Kahu?
Cross-cultural education.
The place you are at. You're staying kibbutz.
Yes.
Like a
so we'll have,
African kibbutz.
Africa can become a little kibbutz. People are communicating, people are marketing produce collectively and whatnot.
It would be fun if after you expand to that, then the way you had those dinners in kibbutz, you have an African dinner where you see what's been going on.
In fact, I've just remembered when we hosted the UN women, when we trained the UN women delegation here, and they came with also some researchers, Ethiopian government officials, and entrepreneurs in agribusiness. So they told us, you guys need to come and train us in Ethiopia. So we figured, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think for speaking for posterity, how we see the future, we are definitely eager to expand to the rest of Africa and basically to interconnect all these links for the betterment of our people and our land.
Yeah. The other thing is one word for anyone who wants to a young person who wants to get into agriculture, stuff like that. What may you say to them?
First of all, before I tackle that question, I think I forgot to mention that after I came back to, after the training in Israel for 11 months, we came back to Kenya, started Kenarava Group. Then after 1 year, I was recalled back to Israel for another 11 months to be leader and mentor for the 3rd cohort of Kenyan students, which was there were 118 young Kenyans. So from that experience, I was able to improve my leadership skills, and importantly, I also envisioned that once these people are back in Kenya, they would work with Kenarava in one way or another. So they are back in Kenya and they are doing amazing stuff. Now, also tied to that, I was admitted to the I was basically asked to sit in the training and development committee, subcommittee of the JNF, Joint Institute for Global Food, Water and Energy Security, which is a $10 million initiative that seeks to empower African communities using Israeli agri-tech. So here again I was, Now the interesting thing, it started with the bicycle and the taking photos of the farms and whatnot. Yes. So for young people who want to venture into agribusiness and that kind of thing, they need to realize that there is opportunities everywhere. I think, let me say my breakthrough came from my Arava story, because I was able to learn more than I intended to, due to the interactions I had with various farms, different kibbutzim, riding to those places, taking photos and whatnot. Now, importantly, young people need to realize that in agribusiness, production is not the only thing. In fact, in agribusiness, we have 7 elements. And in terms of proportion, in fact, for young people who want to make money, let me not say there's no money in production, but in terms of percentage, in Kenya, I think we all know that processors make the most money, value addition. Yeah. So for people who want to get into agribusiness, they need to realize that there are different points of the value chain where they can get into based on their interest, their talent, and their aspirations. So there's so much that can be done. And even when you look at Kenya, even extension, agricultural extension, there's still not enough being done as far as that is concerned. So we need more educators in agriculture. We need more value people in value addition. We also need more people in marketing, and we also need more people in research. Yes. Yeah. So and they have to start somewhere. The excuse that hakuna capital, that's an excuse. Yeah. Yes. So
let's just position yourself in places and stuff always works out.
Yes.
I think that nini of I don't have capital is a very lame excuse.
It's very lame, believe me. Because even the first time we came to Kenya and started Kenarava Group, we didn't come with millions of shillings. But we came, first of all, with the passion, and we had a product we can sell. The product being the service we had. So if you combine,
and the problem was clear.
The problem was clear. There was a problem. So the idea here is to actually combine your passion product and have very good branding. So with the branding, you are able to get partners.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. If Kenarava wants to do project A and we don't have the money, we'll know how to connect stakeholder D and stakeholder F to the project, and we can be able to benefit from the same thing. Yes.
It's that thing of opportunity meets preparedness.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you position yourself and people can see you like this, you're ready.
Yes.
There's someone who's out there looking for. Maybe I need someone who can train certain farmers, nini. And if you're just a young person and you already have that like company, like you say, well branded and everything, they're most likely going to go with you.
Yeah, and then I think the thing that's plaguing the youth ni pesa, kutaka pesa haraka. Na pia wanatakanga pesa yenye wanaona.
Yeah.
So instead of seeing money as a reward for the problems you're solving for society.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's mostly it. I think we've talked for long. I think I don't know if it's more than an hour. Probably.
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe the last thing is just give people links, how to connect with you, all those things. Yeah. Social media, business, everything you just want. Anywhere people can contact you. This is your
I think first of all, if you visit kenarava.com, Kenarava is just the way I've pronounced it. Kenarava.com, you'll definitely find a page about us. So from there, you're able to find our links to, first of all, my social media pages, and you're able to find my email address. Feel free to get in touch. and let's share information. So of course on Facebook you'll find me as Kenneth Chepkwony Kiplang'at. I think we outgrew those nicknames we used to call ourselves.
Yeah. Tusipate Keniwa.
Ken Cherry Pepper.
Yeah.
Actually, my Facebook used to be Ken Cherry Pepper. I don't know where I got that thing from. So if you, I think, in fact, if you Google my Arava story, you'll find me everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll find the blogs that Jewish National Fund have written about my Arava story. You'll find the various photos that I've shared online. You'll also be able to find links to my Instagram and Facebook. Yes, my Arava story.
Yeah.
It's a hashtag my Arava
story.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, like you've heard, hashtag my Arava story. You can check him out.
Yeah.
He's Ken from Kenya. Kenarava is
Kenneth from Kenya.
Kenneth from Kenya.
Yes.
Kenarava is not Ken. It's not
Kenya?
Kenneth. It's Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah. So like we've had so many tech guys on the podcast, but now you can hear it's not only tech that the youth can make money or empower themselves, women as well. There are so many other ways, and you can see there are young people who are doing a lot, especially in the side of agriculture, which is one of the biggest provider in our economy. So
yes.
Don't shy away. Don't sit down saying there are no jobs. Agriculture is a viable side for you to go. Like you heard, we need researchers, we need trainers, we need people to take agriculture as a business and think of it as any other business which you can make money from. And this has been Kevin Kabingu from ZD, and until next time, peace out.
This week's episode has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like and share, comment, get involved. Let us know what you think, what you want to learn next, and join us next time.